This is gonna be a banded forward and backward step. So I have the band right on my mid-lower leg, and I want a pretty heavy band for this, and I'll talk about that in a second. But the exercise is just relaxed knees and hips. I like to hold my hands here because then I can see what my torso is doing. I want a nice straight upright torso. I don't want to lean at any point in this. But I'm going to take a step out, almost diagonal. This leg is going to come in and make almost a semicircle and out again. So what's happening here, and what I often use this for, first, it's a great glute exercise, especially if you get a heavy enough band. What's also going on is that as I come here, a lot of times people have pain with walking or running. When they land, they just collapse. And not only does their knee drop in, but their whole foot kind of drops in there. And so the band at somewhere in the lower leg, and you can play around a little higher, a little lower, everybody's a little different, but the band actually exaggerates that collapse. But it also gives the body something to work against. And so the whole idea is I have this little bit of rotation of the leg. If I rotate out, then my foot gets to be straight. If I wasn't wearing shoes, I would actually have a little better arch, but the ball of the foot is still on the ground. I'm not out there. And so through the whole exercise, in addition to feeling control through the hip and not side bending, as I go to land, I want to watch my foot and not collapse, but have that foot control coming through. So you should feel work through the hips, but also somewhere in the lower leg and maybe the foot. This is where we need a heavy enough band. This is what we call a short lever, meaning there's not a lot of distance between the band and my foot. So we need a pretty heavy band to actually feel it kind of pulling in, and I'm gonna come out. So that's forwards. Once I go about 10 steps, I'm gonna go backwards, and I can't see my foot as well, but I wanna imagine that I'm keeping that same control, and I wanna fight for it. This mimics the toe-off position of gait. So the forward steps, that mimics the foot down part of the walking or running cycle. The backwards, I now have to put my toe and then transition, so I know it's kind of in reverse, but this can help if you lose control or have pain and toe off, okay? So otherwise it's the same. As soon as this knee comes down, I want to make sure I'm not dropping in. I have a nice straight foot, and then as I transition, my foot comes into view, I'm making sure it's not collapsed. So that's the forward and the back step. The main place that people go wrong is they just use their knees. If that's the case, I'll have you send your hips back a little bit. The other thing that people can do, especially going backwards, is they try to actually use their low back, and that ends up looking kind of like this. And so getting forward, a nice athletic stance can help as you go backwards or forwards. But you might have to even, I can see, I actually doubled up the band to get enough resistance to make this meaningful.